Hi, my name's Leo and I'm an English boat builder on a mission to save and rebuild this 1910 English sailing yacht called Tally Ho. My friends Bruce and Jan came over the other day and they donated this lead. It's going to be the first part of my collection of lead, which will eventually be Tally Ho's internal ballast, because she's drawn with 8 tons of internal ballast as well as her 5-ton external lead keel. So thanks Bruce and Jan, it's much appreciated. And they also bought me some beer, which was very nice. Well, it's a horrible old rainy day here in Squim. Gonna try and get some more deck planks off. This is quite interesting. You can really see the state of some of the deck beams here. This was just around the lazarette hatch, just after the cockpit, and you can see how rotten the ends of these beams are. I mean, yeah, I just pulled that right out. So there you go. But it's interesting to see the joinery here. You can see how they've got a dovetail, but the whole thing is notched in here, and that would be so that as the wood moves, you're less likely to see a gap around the joint there, but it's still got that strength of a dovetail, which is really cool. A lot of work went into that. All would have been hand tools, obviously, back in 1910 when this boat was built. And this piece, I mean, I just pulled this right out earlier on, and I didn't even need to take any of the fastenings out. You can see this joint where it's notched in underneath this piece, and I am marking all these pieces so that I know where they go. Obviously pieces like this won't be going back in, but if I need to use it for a template or just to remember exactly how they were constructed, I've got lots of photos and drawings and the plans, but I'm also marking all the pieces so that I know what goes where. If you look here, you can see that the deck was fastened twice. Now, it was originally fastened in the traditional way for a deck with these diagonal nails, and these are bronze, and these dowel pins which fasten horizontally between the planks. Now, unfortunately, at some point, I assume later on, she was refastened directly down with these steel nails, and that's what all these holes are. And you can see the nails here right next to the original fastenings, and being steel, they've completely rusted away and they've caused steel rot in the deck beams underneath them, which they've been fastened into. Show you guys something which you might find useful, perhaps. I'm taking some fastenings out here, and these pieces were refastened at some point with stainless screws, and the countersink wasn't quite big enough, so as you'll see when I take them out, it's going to split out the wood, but that's damaged this wood. These pieces I'm not too bothered about, but on teak pieces that I might reuse, I don't want to split out any wood like that. So you just get an old drill bit, which you're not too bothered about, which is about the size of the head of the screw. You grind the top off with a small angle grinder so it's square. Now you just use your squared off drill bit to enlarge the hole above the screw slightly. You can move it around if you need to. And that should give you a nice clean face on your screw, and enlarge the hole a bit. If you've got epoxy or some glue in the slot of the screw head, you can use a tiny drill bit like this one This one's actually broken, but it still works fine. So I think it's a 1.5 mil. And you can use that just to clean up the slot of the screw. And this time, the screw should come out nice and easy without damaging the wood at all. So that's kind of interesting. You can see the way they've notched the block underneath the main horse into the deck planks here. That's quite nice. So today I've got Rob and Andrew helping me. Here, Rob's getting the bulwark stanchions out. You can't hear a thing I'm saying. Andrew's up here getting the screws out of the covering board. How's that going there?
Slowly.
Slowly but surely, I'm sure. Hey Rob.
Huh?
How are those bulwark stanchions coming out?
Some of them better than others.
Yeah?
Actually, this side seems better than that side.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Andrew.
Yeah, thanks.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, anytime.
Come by again.
Yeah, will do.
Cool. Steel members, what are these called, Leo?
Floors.
Oh, floors. Okay. These are steel, so are you going to replace these, or
Well,
is there a way to
I think they're actually cast iron.
Oh, cast, okay.
I mean, in a lot of traditional boats they'd be wood.
Oh,
So
okay.
they'd be called floor timbers, in fact.
Floor timbers, all right.
And they'd normally come up to about here, and it would be a big crook of a tree.
Right,
often.
I see.
But in this sort of period, it was considered more classy to have
so this was
cast iron.
in 1909. This was sort of a technological improvement, you think?
Yeah. I mean, it must be some really high quality
right, for it to survive.
steel or whatever, because this would have been pretty much underwater for
Right.
a lot of its life,
Right,
and there's a lot of meat on it still. So
Right.
I mean, I'm going to take these off and
Look at them and
chip them down,
see what they look
see
like.
what's left. It looks like most of them would be reusable. Some of them are not.
Right.
But then the other option is, it would be really nice to cast bronze floors. That would be the best of the best. But it would be really expensive. So that kind of depends on funding and.
Learn how to cast metal, man.
Well, yeah, yeah. And even if you're doing it yourself, that's the price
The
of the
materials,
materials.
yeah, super
Massive.
expensive.
But that would be the nicest thing. So this is a little bale for one of the headsail sheets, probably the jib sheets, and screws into the deck, and it's pretty amazing that after all these years it's still in there and no one's unscrewed it and taken it away. So I don't know, I'll have to get someone who knows more than me about bronze to take a look at this, but if it's still strong, there's no reason I won't be able to use this again. So a few people have suggested that it might have been simpler and quicker and cheaper to build a new boat rather than restore this one, and they'd be absolutely right. It would be much easier and much cheaper, but that's kind of not the point. If this was about the cheapest and easiest way to own a boat, I'd just go out and buy a boat. You can go into any marina in the world these days and get a bargain. You can sail away in for just a few grand. So this is about rebuilding a historic vessel and saving it from destruction. It's about something that I think is worthwhile doing. It's about making a good story, and it's about, more than anything else, the magic of sailing on a really old boat. And when this boat is finished, and I'll be sailing on a vessel that was built over 100 years ago, that is something magic. And even if a lot of it has been replaced, to me that just adds to the magic, because it'll be a mix of a vessel that's over 100 years old and one that I've built myself. And for me, those are two of the most romantic, wonderful ideas that you could have. Walking on the things we're taking. So right now we're taking the covering boards off, and they're actually not in terrible condition, so I'm hoping that I'll be able to reuse at least half of them, and if not, I'll at least be able to use them for templates to make sure the new deck looks the same as the old deck.
What do you call this, Leo, when you...
We'd call this I guess a semi-swept deck. So
semi-swept, okay, because it's...
The planks follow the curve of the
hull,
outside, but not perfectly. If
So
it was a fully swept deck, they'd be notched into the king plank.
I see.
But because it's partially swept, they're notched into the covering board.
Right.
And then they taper down, and as the planks get nearer the king plank, they follow the line of the king plank in the centre.
Down the center. 85 and 1/8.
Yeah.
And 14 and 5/8.
Yeah. 33 and a quarter. 56. Yeah. Oh. Not light. 2, 3. Fun?
I've had great fun.
Good. We did a good chunk. Got a good chunk.
Yeah, I think it was a couple of productive days, so that's good. Right.
Really appreciate it.
All right, yeah,
Thanks
no
so
worries.
much.
I'd be up, I don't know when, but I'd
be up for come back?
If you'd have me, I'd come back.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So.
All right. We'll be in touch.
Have a nice holiday.
Cheers, Rob. Well, it's been a good few days. We got all the deck planks off and got all the deck beams cut out. As was pretty obvious, none of the deck beams were in good enough condition to reuse. Actually, I think it's quite amazing that they held up the deck and my weight at all. And people keep asking me how much of this wood I'm going to be able to save and how much I'm going to have to replace. And the answer is, you're just going to have to keep watching the videos and find out. Because I don't know. But I do think that I can save at least most of the planks, and I'm talking a half to 2/3, and the keel timber, maybe some other parts of the centerline, and quite a lot of fittings and maybe fastenings. The floors, perhaps, the hanging knees, lodging knees, some of the deck fittings, maybe the covering boards as well. So one of the biggest jobs is going to be reframing, and I think I'm going to reframe the entire boat and do every single frame, because they're all pretty bad. I could get away with leaving a few of them, maybe a quarter, but you know, if you do that, then probably at some stage later you're going to have to do the rest of them, and that means you're going to have to take the entire interior of the boat out, and that's just a pain. So while you're doing it and you're in the swing of it and you got the timber and the machines, you might as well just do them all. And then I got some centerline work to do. I'm going to try and replace the stem and the forefoot. I think that'll be interesting. I'll have to do that before I reframe the bow section, and then possibly a similar story at the stern with the stern knee and the stern post, but I haven't been able to see the whole of that timber yet, so I'll know more when I uncover it more. But it's been great to have some help. When there was 2 of them here and me, felt like there was a real team working on it, and that was a really great feeling. So hopefully we're going to get that sort of thing happening more often.
Oh, it feels really wobbly.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, promise.
Whoa. Oh man. Are these coming off next, or?
Yeah, it's just the ends of them. Some of them
Are they
have
tough?
metal bits underneath.
Right.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
bit, that's called a knee, and it goes up and then it goes along the bottom of the beam to about here.
Okay, yeah.
So that's what makes it really strong. It's not on every beam, but on some of them.
How are you going to get these off?
Drill out the fastenings, or cut off the fastenings and then just take them off.
Tomorrow's job. What was the deck made of?
A lot of it was teak. Like the cover boards, which go on the outside and cover up the joint between the beams and the planks, was teak. And then the king planks, which go down the centre, were teak.
Yeah.
And then the first few planks on the outside were teak. The rest of them, I think they were Cowrie pine. In Albert Strange's drawings for this boat, he drew the central section of the deck planks as either Cowrie pine or yellow pine. And the grain looks a lot like Cowrie pine. So I think
So
that's what it
probably
is. Alright, well that's it for now. Thanks a lot for watching, and thanks a lot to everyone who's been supporting the Tally-Ho project. It's really appreciated. The project isn't sponsored or funded other than through money I've earned working the last couple of years and money that's been donated by you guys. I love documenting this rebuild and editing it and sharing it. But it does take an awful lot of time. I'm thinking of setting up a Patreon account, which is a website where people can sign up to be patrons and automatically donate whatever amount they choose every time I release a video. Now, what I'd like is for you guys to let me know if you think it's a good idea. Would there be anything you'd specifically like to see on the Patreon site? Exclusive videos or question and answer sessions or anything like that? Or maybe you just think it's a stupid idea? Either way, I'd like to know, and if it seems like a popular idea, I'll go ahead and set one up. Thanks a lot for watching, and see you next time.